The year 2024 was an eventful year for energy markets. Oil prices were heavily influenced by Chinese demand and Middle East tensions, while United States remained cautious about production growth. International Energy Agency released its monthly oil market report in which it projected comfortable oil market growth in 2025 despite OPEC Plus group extended oil supply cuts. The UN chief, however, hopes the world will speed up transitions.
In 2025, countries must put the world on a safer path by dramatically slashing emissions and supporting the transition to a renewable future. It is essential and it is possible.
According to the report, global oil demand growth is now projected to surge from 840,000 barrels per day in 2024 to 1.1 million barrels per day in 2025, lifting consumption to 103.9 million barrels per day in 2025. This increase is largely attributed to heightened demand for petrochemical feedstocks.
OPEC has consistently advocated a balanced approach where nothing and no one should be dismissed. We need to embrace all energies, leverage all the available technologies, and ensure that the needs of all peoples around the world are taken into account. This means recognizing that the focus of the Paris Agreement is reducing emissions, not choosing energy sources.
However, the agency has also revised its growth estimates for 2024 downward, reducing them by 80,000 barrels per day from previous forecasts, largely due to weaker than expected deliveries in China, Saudi Arabia, and Indonesia. The International Energy Agency said it still expects an oversupplied oil market, even if OPEC Plus continues to delay the unwinding of its additional voluntary production cuts. At the same time, the International Energy Agency expects non-OPEC Plus nations to boost supply by about 1.5 million barrels per day in 2025, driven by the United States, Canada, Guyana, Brazil, and Argentina. In contrast, OPEC Plus producers maintain more controlled output levels, adhering to their production agreements aimed at balancing the market.
Trade barriers can well be a factor slowing down the global clean energy transitions. And the fair and the inclusive trade policy is something I prefer.
Meanwhile, India's oil demand growth rate has outpaced China in 2024, marking its significant shift in the global energy landscape. According to S&P Global, India's oil demand growth is expected to extend into 2025, with growth projected at 3.2%, nearly double from China's 1.7%. The International Energy Agency's report underscores 2025 as a pivotal year for the oil market, with significant implications for producers, consumers, and policymakers. The interplay of demand recovery, supply strategies will shape the trajectory of the global energy landscape. The Economic Brief for DD India.
Well, Professor Chaturvedi, our oil economy is getting a fresh lease of life because of the forthcoming Trump presidency.
Definitely. And I think more options are right up there. The effort by the US administration probably would be clear in terms of how the decoupling is to be done. As you can imagine, for last couple of years, India has exercised all possible sources for ensuring affordable, cost-effective, and ensuring adequate supplies for our energy security. And this has, in a way, facilitated larger gain for Indian consumers and a win-win with our partners.
Mr. Taneja, should carbon trading be taken as a means, for countries to gain revenues and also to increase the legitimacy, in fact, of long-term interests of the oil economy when people are trying to transition?
Well, yes, in fact, that's very important. And the government of India has already come out with new initiatives on that front. But I think what's important for economies like India and many other, emerging economy is the availability of oil and gas. You see, what has happened in the last 4 years, there's been excessive focus on renewable. Renewable is the future, no doubt about it. But I think for economies like us, we need all sources of energy. So, the United States, IEA, they've all become the cheerleaders of renewables, which is fine for them because many of them are developed economy. IEA represent economy of the developed country, but for economy like India, Brazil, Indonesia, Vietnam, we need more oil, we need more gas, we need even more coal. At the same time, when we look at our track record in terms of renewables, we are doing better than most developed countries. But renewables are not renewables are only supplement.
Right.
Because poor in the world, 4 billion. So it's important that, while but at the time we show an affordable energy available for all economies across the world. That means we need more oil. And the good thing is President-elect of the US, his slogan is drill, baby, drill. Means, you go and exploit oil and gas wherever it is available. Of course, you take care of the climate, you take care of atmosphere, but mobilize that oil. It's a very good message. And I think it's going to basically put pressure on prices. That means the oil will be more affordable. If oil is in the region of $70 per barrel, that's what we need. That's what our economy needs. If it can drop below $75 per barrel, great news for India. Since we are energy deficit, we import 88% of our oil requirement. Oil, between $60, $70 per barrel is the best thing that can happen, not only for the economy, for the ordinary consumer, for our farmers, because fertilizer dependent on gas, and for our economy. For the entire global South, President-elect Trump's slogan of drill, baby, drill is a great news.
We'll leave it there. Thank you very much, Mr. Narendra Taneja, Distinguished Fellow at Oxford Institute of Energy Studies, and Professor Sachin Chaturvedi, eminent economist and Director General of Research and Information Systems for Developing Countries. Thank you for enlightening us on these key subjects.